Hi, this is going to be sort of a rant, sort of a do's and don'ts video, because I see a lot of people discussing different ways to make characters, and, well, I'm sorry, but some of them are just straight up terrible. Like, some of them are just awful. So, we're going to real quick go over do's and don'ts when making a character for a high roleplay setting. First of all, do make your character a person. This is obvious. In SS14, we're all playing people. We are people, playing as people, make your character a person. They have to be believable. Not Gary Dickface. Even IPCs have to have a believable thing that makes them think, okay, they could exist. As an example, Peach Anger is a schoolyard bully. He could easily exist because you've definitely met one IRL who uses whatever position they have and whatever metrics they have to be a manipulative little shit to piss everyone off for their own gain. In addition, we have Fight. Fight is a combat Borg who is not actually here to fight, but instead to gather combat information, and the best way to do that is through medical because he gets to access wounds and, gain data from the injuries people bring in. As such, he's a medical doctor, both of whom are believable characters aboard a space station. And they have to be hireable by NT. Obviously, Fight has an ulterior motive, but NT doesn't give a shit. They see a doctor who is very capable, they hire said doctor. Which is why Ungulus Caveman is not a believable character. Nanotransit wouldn't hire a fucking caveman. And I don't know who needs to be told that, but no. Caveman characters who don't speak basic English are not characters that would be hired by NT. I'm sorry. For the first don't make your character you. And this is a problem I see a lot. And you might be thinking, but Acorn, I heard a lot of advice saying just play what you know. Why did I make my characters a weird version of me? Because, see, there's this little thing called a meta shield, and I might sound condescending, but a lot of players legitimately don't know this exists, where essentially you are playing a character and the meta shield exists to prevent people from metagaming things and keep antagonists allowed to do antagonistic things without some guy saying, oh, this guy is a Cindy and throws him a perma and whatever, and all that crap. The problem is, though, if you play yourself, it can be very, very difficult, especially for a newer player, to separate themselves and what they know out of character from themselves in character. This is why, despite me being a nice person in real life, I like to believe that at least, Peach Anger is a colossal asshole. He's a manipulative little bastard. And while it's true that there is a bit of, the deepest, darkest urges in the Peach, he's still very, very separate from how I act IRL, and as such, I'm able to completely avoid metagaming, and it becomes natural to respond as my character. Now, the second thing is do separate your character from yourself. Yeah, self-explanatory. You are not your character. Your character is not you. And I'll explain why in the second don't. Don't give a shit what happens to your character. See, I see a lot of people who make characters that they really care about, that they write deep lore for, which is fine, but then they care what happens to the character like it's their kid. Which makes sense. People are, they value their characters. Like, they value the things that they make, and they value stories that they write, and they value their D&D characters, and blah, 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 whatever. The problem is, if you care what happens to your character, it can be very easy to get tilted out of character. Trust me, I have a very bad problem with that, where I get legitimately upset if things don't go my way, and there's like a roleplay thing that doesn't perfectly go my way, because I'm only human. And I have found that not giving a shit about my character, in fact, I hate Peach. He is an asshole. I like playing at him, but if I had to meet Peach IRL, I'd probably beat the fuck out of him. Because he's a dick. And him being a dick means every time something bad happens to him, and like he gets shot or kicked or someone pies him, it's like, oh hell yeah. That person who's an asshole just got their shit kicked out of them. Fuck yes. I hate Peach. Give your character a value or a peeve. See, I've seen about like 100 characters in existence that, well, they don't really stand for anything. And to quote someone who I don't actually know who that is, I don't remember who said this, if you're not pissing someone off at some point, have you really stood for anything? This is true in character as well. See, Peach Anger, as a character, has a bunch of peeves. One in particular is the idea of command members going red or causing emergencies or some other bullshit happening, and then not informing the crew about it, especially when it's actively harming them. This obviously, turns into the whole shebang of Peach getting pissed off at command members, them getting pissed off at him, and then them, having clashes, being like, I don't like you, shut up, Peach, fuck you. Which is a good thing. Again, a lot of people seem to have this really weird, like, unintentional dissociation with the stuff that happens in character, and they forget that your character's allowed to clash with people. You're allowed to have different values with someone than someone else. For example, Security is a security officer who will gladly take bullets for innocent people. Like, some clown unable to fight back, they'll take the bullets for them happily. However, Set, on the other hand, expects that from everyone else. He expects his fellow security officers to do that exact same thing without hesitation. He also expects the crew to not stab him in the back ever. So he gets a little peeved whenever some bullshit happens involving him. And this is all good. Conflict is the nature of Space Station, and while antagonists are supposed to create conflict, there can be a lot of minor conflict, differences in belief, strife, spite between characters, between everyone. That's the whole point. Like, can you really name a story that's been really, really good without drama happening in it? It's a role-playing game. Create some drama. Don't make your character complicated. Now, this might seem like a bit of a misnomer. I'm not sure if I'm using that word correctly. This might seem like a bit of a stupid thing to say, like something that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I not make a complicated character? Do you want me to make one-note characters? No. What I want is for you to understand that this is not Dungeons and Dragons, which, for reference, I see a lot of people following the exact same character creation strategies as in D&D. And that doesn't work because of size. Like, how do I explain this? Okay. I want you to imagine your immediate family. You know quite a bit about your immediate family, or your immediate friends if you're in a bad situation with your family. The people around you, the people you spend all day with. You know the ins and outs of them. You know pretty much everything about them. Probably, I don't know. Then I want you to think of everyone in your neighborhood. You probably don't know as much about them. You might know about some of them, but hell, I don't know most of the people in my neighborhood. Or your apartment block or whatever. Now think about everyone in your city or town. Do you know everything about everyone in your town? No. And the exact same applies to Space Station. Like, I don't give a shit about Percy Timsworth, regardless of how complicated he is. Right? Like, I don't give a shit about him, except for how he interacts with me. And if he's complicated, I'm never going to be able to see that, and that's just wasted problems. Or wasted time that you could be spending on role-playing in your own situations better than considering how your multifaceted, highly complex character would behave. Right? You see where I'm getting at here? People don't care about the complications of how you're playing your character. They care about what's happening in front of them. Pretty much exclusively. I mean, hell, how many people have you seen scream "Why evac" or "Why red" after like 5 murders take place? Don't make your character's defining traits start fights. Now, this might seem like a bit of a weird thing, considering Peach fucking Andrew. And now I want to give the next do. Do make your character possible to argue with. Okay? And this is a very specific thing. Take, for example, the footage happening on screen. Yeah, that's right, bitch. This isn't background footage. There's been a reason this is all happening. See, Peach Andrew, I play Peach like a Dungeon Master NPC from D&D. Peach is there to be interacted with, not to be the center of attention. Sometimes, yeah, Peach is the major villain. But he's never the protagonist. Ever. Trust me, I don't have pro-tag energy, I have anti-tag energy. How do I explain this? So, Peach Andrew is not an antagonist half the time. He's a villain. A minor villain. He's that drunken guy at the bar that is, like, being an asshole. He's the, like, town guard who searches the D&D party that shows up every single time inside of their, like, cabin or whatever. They're the random fucking security guard at the airport that makes people go through extra baggage checks if they don't like the cut of their jib or they don't smile at them enough. He's a minor pain in the ass on occasion, but he never makes himself the biggest issue unless he's actively an antagonist. In this situation right here, I'm not distracting all of SEC. They're distracting themselves, first of all. I'm having a conversation with the head of security about the QM flashing a Thaven to get them off their desk. I'm not fighting them. Because if the Hoss says no, I don't give a shit, nothing happens. The Hoss is choosing to engage with me and continue the engagement. That's the point. That's the point of the whole situation here. Someone else is choosing to acknowledge the Peach. They're choosing to decide that Peach Andrew is worthy of interaction. The situation he's discussing and causing here is worthy of their attention and kind of fun. I mean, hell, Edward Myers. I know the player of Edward Myers. They're having great. If I know them, they're having fun with this. They're finding this hilarious. Because anyone at any time could just declare, "I don't fucking care. Fuck off. Go away." And that's the difference. Peach isn't chasing people. He doesn't see a problem and then start harassing the person endlessly about the problem. He's a persistent little bastard that continuously shows up when given a single little hook. Just like a Dungeon Master NPC, he's sure to elevate other characters in their interaction. I'm elevating the QM, wanting to get people off of his damn desk by choosing to acknowledge it as a serious issue instead of just, get off the desk, oh well. I'm acknowledging the head of security and their promotion by making them make a difficult decision about what is and isn't trespassing. Or, well, the warden. I don't know who the hell Haas is going to be here. I'm elevating the BSO by existing in the bridge and making them decide if this is a valid arrest of a command member. Same with Cap. I'm making them mediate who needs to decide this situation. Everyone around this situation is being elevated by my actions instead of being shunned or forced to do something else with these actions or forcing me to interact with them. That's why people always accuse me of self-antagonism when I don't. For reference, I have self-antagged on Funky Station even and got banned for it. And frankly, my self-antag ban, I deserved. I self-antagged. It happened. But the people who constantly think Peach self-antags, Peach self-antags. Peach is a villain. He's an annoying little shit, but he's a minor villain, usually. And that's the key difference between self-antagonism and a character that causes friction. If your character's entire thing is to start fights with people. You need to play it very carefully. If someone chooses not to interact with you, you don't. I mean, hell, I've literally asked an LOC because a QM got promoted to captain and then had to do a court case involving me trying to card the AI because I was being a dick, because, might as well. And I just LOC'd, QM, are you comfortable with doing a court case? If not, I will actively bomb the shit out of this courtroom and try to escape and do criminal things so that we don't have to do this trial. And they agreed. They were like, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't want to do this court case because I'm a QM who's very new to QM. I don't want to be capped or doing a court case. And that was a fair thing to do. Elevate other people's experiences so that they, in turn, can elevate your own. That's what I want you to do and what I want you to take away from this video. Also, yes, I'll be using this video for background footage in the future, so stay tuned. I'd like to thank my channel members as well for this video. This was made possible thanks to them because, seriously, there's been a lot of shit happening on my end. Thank you to Flubbergaster, User Face This, Loltard, Some Kitty Cat, Northstar, Plenty43, Web Supporter, Philip Timber, Sathier, Lapin. You too can support the show down below. I promise I will stream more often. I will stream on Tuesday. If I don't stream on Tuesday, you can feel more than free to yell at me. Yell at me. I will be streaming on Tuesday. I will try. God fucking damn it. Why is Scubstep here? No, stop that. No. Bad Scubstep. No. Bad. No. No, play this instead. Yeah. Okay, bye.